In the dazzling world of Bridgerton, love does not always come wrapped in soft words and stolen glances. Sometimes, it hides behind sharp arguments, pointed remarks, and the fire of rivalry. And when it comes to Eloise Bridgerton, one of the most rebellious and outspoken members of the ton, her story might not be about a prince sweeping her off her feet. Instead, it could be about discovering that the person she fights with the most is the one who stirs her heart the deepest. Could it be that Eloise Bridgerton is secretly in love with her greatest rival? Eloise Bridgerton has always been different from the rest of her family. While her sisters and friends are caught up in the excitement of romance, gowns, and balls, Eloise has often rolled her eyes at the idea of courtship. She questions everything, from marriage to the strict roles society places on women. In her world, intelligence and independence matter more than wearing the right dress or winning a suitor's hand. That is why Eloise has always been such a refreshing character. She challenges not only the people around her but also the audience watching. In seasons 1 through 3, we have seen her grow from a young girl frustrated with the rules of the ton into a woman who is not afraid to speak her mind. Her friendship with Penelope Featherington was one of her most important relationships, but it was also one that crumbled under the weight of secrets. Penelope's double life as Lady Whistledown left Eloise heartbroken, feeling betrayed by the one person she trusted most. That fallout changed her, making her even more guarded when it comes to emotions and loyalty. But what if this heartbreak, instead of closing her off, has pushed her toward a new path? In her anger we see passion. In her arguments we see sparks. And when she clashes with rivals like Cressida Cowper, or even when she lashes out at Penelope, we notice something different about the way Eloise carries herself. Rivalries in Bridgerton are rarely simple. Often they serve as a mask for deeper feelings. Just think about Anthony and Kate, who spent half of season 2 arguing before admitting their love. Or Daphne and Simon, who turned irritation into attraction. Eloise's own story might be following the same pattern. This is where the theory begins to take shape. Eloise may not admit it, even to herself. But her rivalry could be the first step toward a love story unlike any other in the Bridgerton universe. A story where intellect, defiance, and sharp words lead to something she has always avoided: romance. And that is what makes her season 4 journey so exciting. A rivalry is not just about anger or jealousy. In stories like Bridgerton, it is often the spark that lights the flame of passion. When Eloise faces her so-called rivals, what we see is not only conflict but also intensity. The kind of intensity that makes audiences wonder if something more is hidden underneath. Her sharp words, her heated looks, and the way she cannot seem to stay away from those she claims to dislike. These are not signs of distance. They are signs of connection. Take her clashes with Cressida Cowper, for example. On the surface, Cressida seems to be everything Eloise despises. She is vain, shallow, and fully committed to society's rules. Eloise mocks her, criticizes her, and treats her as the very symbol of everything she wants to escape. But here lies the irony. Eloise pays more attention to her rival than almost anyone else in the ton. She notices Cressida's every move, every word, and every scheme. Rivalry keeps her focus locked, and in storytelling, focus often hints at fascination. Even dislike, when it is this intense, can be a shadow of something deeper. Now, let us not forget Penelope. Eloise's fallout with her former best friend has turned friendship into rivalry. Betrayal cut deep, and their arguments were filled with heartbreak. Yet if you look closer, there is a layer of raw emotion there that Eloise does not show with anyone else. Her words to Penelope carry a weight, a sting, and an urgency that suggest more than simple anger. They suggest that Eloise feels something she cannot quite name. Could it be hurt pride? Could it be the pain of lost trust? Or could it be the ache of love tangled in betrayal? When we compare Eloise's rivalries to past love stories in Bridgerton, the pattern becomes clearer. Anthony and Kate fought like enemies before admitting their attraction. Daphne and Simon pushed each other away before realizing they belonged together. These stories teach us one lesson. In the world of the Bridgertons, rivalry is often just love in disguise, and Eloise, who has always rejected romance, might be on the edge of her own discovery. What makes her situation unique is that Eloise is not like her siblings. She is not looking for love. She does not even believe she needs it. So if she were to fall in love with a rival, it would be the most surprising twist of all. A love born not from softness, but from fire. A love that begins with sharp words, sharp minds, and sharp hearts colliding. Every love story in Bridgerton is written not just in words, but in glances, pauses, and the moments between the lines. With Eloise, the writers have been far more subtle. She is not the kind of character to sigh at a suitor or blush at a compliment. Instead, her story is told in what she tries to hide. If we look closely at her journey, we see little sparks that might hint at something deeper. Moments that suggest rivalry may not be the full truth, but only the mask hiding her real emotions. One of the strongest clues lies in the way Eloise reacts to her rivals compared to others in the ton. With most debutantes, she barely cares. She ignores them, mocks them, or turns her attention elsewhere. But when it comes to Penelope or Cressida, Eloise's reactions are fiery. Her words become sharper, her tone heavier, her eyes more alive. Rivalry keeps her tethered in a way that disinterest never could. This difference is important because in drama, the intensity of reaction often reveals the depth of feeling. Take her fallout with Penelope. The betrayal of learning her closest friend was Lady Whistledown left Eloise shaken. Yet beneath her anger, there was a kind of heartbreak that felt almost too deep for friendship alone. The way she lingered on Penelope's lies, the way she replayed the hurt in her mind, and the way she could not let go. It mirrored the pain of lost love. And when the camera lingered on Eloise's face in those moments, it was not just fury we saw. It was grief. The kind of grief that comes from someone who has lost more than trust. She had lost intimacy, connection, perhaps even the chance at something she could not name. Even with Cressida, who has long been her opposite, the story feels layered. Eloise calls her shallow, but why then does she always meet her words with such energy? Why does she not dismiss Cressida entirely, the way she does with other socialites? Instead, she seems to enjoy the battle of wits, the dance of insults. Sometimes, hate can look a lot like passion, especially when it burns this brightly. It may be the writer's way of planting seeds, hints that the strongest feelings Eloise holds might someday shift into something else. The history of Bridgerton supports this theory. Every major romance began with resistance. Daphne resisted Simon's charm before realizing her feelings. Anthony tried to deny Kate, only to find himself consumed by her. The show thrives on turning enemies into lovers, rivals into partners. If Eloise is next in line, then the clues we see now may not be accidents, but deliberate foreshadowing. These subtle hints create a trail for the audience. They invite us to wonder, is Eloise's sharpness just her defense, or is it also her attraction? Is her rivalry a battle, or is it the beginning of a love story only she cannot yet admit? The answers might come in Season 4, but the subtext has already begun its quiet whisper. Season 4 of Bridgerton is being whispered about as the season of surprises, and no character carries more mystery than Eloise. She has always stood apart from her siblings. While they chase love and scandal, she chases ideas, debates, and freedom. But what if the writers are preparing her for the most unexpected story of all? A romance not born of admiration, but of rivalry. A love story that turns everything we thought we knew about her upside down. If we follow the patterns of past seasons, Eloise's rival, whether it is the cunning Cressida or the estranged Penelope, could become the one person who challenges her in ways no one else can. Imagine the drama of it. Eloise, who mocks the very idea of romance, slowly realizing that her heart races not when she is alone with her books, but when she is face to face with the person she swears she dislikes. The ballroom, once a cage, could become the battlefield of her emotions. Every look across the floor, every exchange of sharp words, could turn into something far more dangerous: attraction. For Cressida, a twist like this would shock the audience. The shallow rival revealed as the unexpected match for Eloise would turn the story on its head. Beneath the gowns and vanity, perhaps Cressida hides a longing for someone who sees her as more than decoration. And Eloise, who has never given herself permission to feel, might discover that what she once thought of as irritation is actually desire. Their story could echo Anthony and Kate's fiery push and pull, but with an even bolder edge. For Penelope, the twist would carry deep emotion. Their broken friendship still aches, and turning that pain into love would be a daring choice. It would mean rewriting betrayal as the beginning of something greater. It would mean that the deepest wound in Eloise's heart becomes the very doorway to affection. Audiences would not only watch a love story but also a story of healing, forgiveness, and the courage to accept feelings she has denied for so long. What makes Season 4 exciting is that Eloise's story could go against everything expected of her. While others in the ton fall into predictable matches, hers might be the one that breaks every rule, just like she always has. A romance with a rival would not only shock her family but also the audience, making her one of the most unforgettable characters in the entire series. And in a show built on passion, scandal, and secrets, what could be more fitting than love hiding in plain sight, disguised? But before we dive too deep into theories of secret love, we must face the other side of Eloise's story. What if Season 4 is not about romance at all? What if her path is not leading her toward love with a rival, but toward independence, freedom, and self-discovery? Because if there is one thing Eloise has proven time and again, it is that she refuses to be written into anyone else's story. From the very beginning, Eloise has mocked the endless parade of courtships and proposals. She does not want to be rescued, admired, or placed in the spotlight for wearing the right gown. She wants to question, to challenge, and to live life on her own terms. To give her a romance with a rival might feel exciting, but it might also betray what makes her unique. After all, not every powerful story needs to end with a kiss. Sometimes, the greatest love story is the one a woman writes for herself. There is also the risk that a rival-to-lovers arc could reduce Eloise's sharp independence into something too familiar. We have seen Anthony fall for Kate after fighting her. We have seen Daphne turn resistance into passion with Simon. If Eloise were to follow the same pattern, would her story lose its originality? Many fans believe her journey should break away from the formula completely. Instead of finding herself in another's arms, Eloise might finally find herself in her own reflection. And then there is Penelope. Yes, their fallout carried the weight of heartbreak, but not every heartbreak needs to be rewritten as hidden love. Sometimes friendship is more powerful than romance. Sometimes the pain of betrayal is meant to rebuild trust, not transform into desire. A reunion of friends could be just as satisfying as a lover's twist, perhaps even more so because it would honor the depth of loyalty Eloise once valued above all. Imagine a Season 4, where Eloise does not fall into a whirlwind of romance, but instead steps outside of society's cage entirely. Where she becomes a voice for women who refuse to marry. Where she challenges the ton, not through scandal, but through courage. This path would not be about disguising rivalry as love, but about showing that a woman's strength is enough on its own. And maybe that is the boldest story of all. As rivalry? In the grand tapestry of Bridgerton, love is never simple. It hides in whispered secrets, burns in long stares across candlelit rooms, and often reveals itself in the last place we expect. For Eloise Bridgerton, the question remains: is her heart quietly beating for her rival, or is she destined to walk a different path altogether? The clues tempt us to believe in a hidden romance. The fire in her arguments, the sharpness of her words, the way she cannot look away from the very people she swears to despise. These moments feel too heavy to be dismissed as simple rivalry. They remind us of every love story the Bridgertons have given us, where enemies become lovers, and battles of wit end with the softest of touches. Perhaps Eloise's fiercest rival is the one who will break through her defenses and reveal a love she has denied all her life. And yet the counterpoint is just as powerful. Maybe Eloise is not meant to follow the same rhythm as her siblings. Maybe her rebellion against romance is not a disguise, but her truth. Perhaps she will show us that a woman's worth is not measured by who she marries, but by how boldly she chooses her own story. In a world where every season has been about love, Eloise's season might be about freedom. That is what makes her Season 4 arc so thrilling. The uncertainty, the tension, the possibility that the writers could take her anywhere. Will her rivalry transform into a love story that shocks the ton? Or will it remain a rivalry, a spark that fuels her independence rather than softens it? The answer is hidden in the shadows of the ballroom, waiting to be revealed. So what do you think? Is Eloise secretly in love with her rival? Or are we simply reading desire into the fire of her defiance? Could her sharpest battles actually be her deepest passions? Or is she destined to carve a future where love plays no role at all? Share your theory below, because one thing is certain. When Bridgerton returns, Eloise Bridgerton will not just step into society's spotlight. She will challenge it, and perhaps rewrite it forever. The story of Eloise Bridgerton is not just another chapter in a romance saga. It is a mirror reflecting the struggle between society's demands and an individual's truth. For 3 seasons, we have watched her resist the rules of the ton, laugh at the idea of marriage, and push back against a world that wants to define her. And now, as Season 4 approaches, her fate feels like the most unpredictable of all. The whispers of a hidden love story cannot be ignored. Every glare exchanged with Cressida, every heated word thrown at Penelope, every moment where rivalry burns, brighter than indifference. These are not the details of a character untouched by passion. They are the careful threads of a mystery that may unravel into romance, revealing that Eloise has been guarding her heart not from love itself, but from the person she least expected to care for. But the beauty of Eloise's journey lies in its uncertainty. She is not like Daphne, who found a husband in a whirlwind of passion, nor like Anthony, who fought desire until it consumed him. Eloise is a different voice, a louder voice, one that speaks for those who want more than love alone. To tie her future to independence would be just as bold as tying it to a rival's embrace. Because in her story, both paths carry power. So we stand on the edge of speculation. Will Eloise's rivalry transform into the season's most shocking romance, or will it remain a storm that fuels her independence? The writers have left us, dangling in the most delicious tension, where both outcomes feel possible, and both would feel true to the character we know. What do you believe? Is Eloise hiding her heart behind defiance, waiting for her rival to draw it out? Or is she carving a path no Bridgerton has dared before? One where love is optional, but freedom is everything. Share your thoughts below, because no matter the outcome, one thing is clear. Eloise's story in Season 4 is not just about who she loves. It is about who she dares to become.